Welcome to From the Bayou to the World. I'm Kurt. This is my kitchen. Y'all come on in. Tonight we're doing Thanksgiving sides. Okay, the turkey's going to be great. The ham's going to be great. The pork roll's going to be fantastic. Let's knock them out with the sides. Homemade green bean casserole, everything from scratch. Homemade cornbread dressing. We're making the cornbread from scratch, putting it all together. For you, no canned soup in this episode. The coffee's on. Y'all come on in. Hey, y'all, I'm Kurt. Welcome to From the Bayou to the World. This is my kitchen. Y'all come and grab a seat. So, Thanksgiving, right? It's when this airs, should be the next day, should be tomorrow. It should air on Wednesday. Thanksgiving, is obviously, on Thursday. So, the turkey is going to be fantastic, right? Everybody's going to nail the big stuff. Pork roast is going to be off the chain, out the park. Excellent. Ham's going to be on point. Everything's going to be fantastic. But if you really want to wow them, let's get those sides down. Let's get people talking about the sides. So for too long, we've been doing cornbread dressing with a box cornbread mix, which I did for years till I found out. We've been doing green bean casserole with canned green beans and canned soup and all this mess. No, 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 no. We're going to make it fantastic. We're doing everything from scratch because it's not hard to do. And the results are just out of this world. You're really going to love this. Before we go on, we need to thank our sponsors, Gilbert's Greatest Foods Makers of Louisiana Love. If you're not cooking with Louisiana Love, your Thanksgiving isn't as thankful as it should be. And I don't know if Thanksgiving could be thankful, but we're going to go with it. So let's talk about it. Normally, whenever we do Thanksgiving sides are basically an afterthought. Now, everybody loves them, sure, but they're kind of put together with convenience items, canned soups and canned produce, green beans, stuff like that. Even the yams come canned, and we put a lot of sugar and stuff in them, and that's fun. That's been fun for a long time, but we can do better, and it's just as easy to do. And I'm going to show you how. So whenever you come back, I'm gonna get some of this cleaned up and we'll get right to it because we got to get the cornbread in the oven. That's the first thing. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. Hey y'all, welcome back to From the Bayou to the World. We're doing Thanksgiving sides and we're knocking them out of the park. We're doing all homemade stuff. So we're doing cornbread dressing and green bean casserole. So we got to get our cornbread in the oven because it's going to take about 40 minutes to cook, 35 to 40 minutes. So first things first, we got to have a pan to cook it in. This is a cake pan. It's an 8-inch cake pan. You can use a square pan if you have it, 8 by 8. If it's 9 inches, that's fine. It's going to take about 5 minutes off the cook time. So just remember that. The recipe I'm going to post for this can easily be doubled to go into a 9 by 13 cake pan, which will doubles the amount, but it works out really well. So let's talk about oil in the pan. If you don't oil, I don't care if it's nonstick or not, it doesn't matter. Oil the pan. And don't oil the pan, shortening the pan, right? So there's nothing better than shortening to grease something you're going to bake in, especially something savory like this. Now, shortening doesn't have any flavor, so you could really use it for anything. But when it comes to like cornbread or something like that you know is going to be sticky, you can't beat shortening. So just a little light coat all the way around, and that's it. Your pan's done. And that's a very, very important part. Excuse me while I grab a little rubber spatula here. We're going to need that in a second. Okay. In our big bowl of goodness, we have 1.5 cups of flour, a half a cup of cornmeal, and the recipe calls for a half a cup of sugar, but I dialed it back to a 1/4 cup of sugar right here because I don't want this too sweet. I do want a little sweetness in it, but not too much. If I was doing this cornbread for breakfast or couscous or something like that, yeah, I would put the rest of the whole amount of sugar in there. 1 tablespoon of baking powder and a half a teaspoon of salt. Kosher, please. All right, that's our dry ingredients. So let's get these mixed up. You don't have to go crazy with this. You just want to get everything incorporated, because if you don't, if you have just everything in a pile, if I start pouring the wet in there, inevitably I'm going to have a lump of one thing. I'm going to have a lump of cornmeal or a lump of flour. It's just not going to be well mixed. Like this, I don't have to worry about it. And it also distributes the baking powder and the salt for me. So, all right, in this bowl I have 2 eggs, and then I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of milk. Now, this, you're going to notice this recipe has quite a few wet ingredients, and I'm going to tell you why. It all adds to the flavor and the crumb. What does that mean, Kurt? Well, you have to have flour and cornmeal, because corn alone, if you cooked 100% corn, just cornmeal, it would fall apart. Even if you put eggs in it, it wouldn't hold together. So the flour is going to create gluten and give it structure and hold it together. But I also want a certain texture. So I'm going to use oil for richness, eggs for a binder. I put the milk in there for the dairy factor and make it creamy. And this is a third of a cup of melted butter. So really rich, but it needs it. That cornmeal can stand up to it. When you're melting butter, I melt mine in the microwave, and that's fine. Melt yours any way you want. But in the microwave, I turn the power down. So you see, you got a power button right here. You could turn the power down so it's not 100%. It's usually numbered from 1 to 10. I do 4. I put it on power level 4, and I go 1 minute at a time, and it melts it beautifully without popping. If that butter's in there popping, that means the water's starting to boil inside. You don't want that. And with the wet ingredients, and just take your time and work this together. Now this is going to be gritty, and there may even be a couple lumps, and that's okay. That's fine. Now, you don't want this, obviously, but it's okay. Look at me. It's okay if you have a couple lumps in there, and it's okay if it's not perfectly smooth and man, that sure is a lot of grit in there. Yeah, because the cornmeal isn't cooked. There we go. So, like that. And I think we need just a little bit more liquid in here. I'm going to put a little bit of water. It's a little chalky. We want batter. About another tablespoon or so. And you could use water in here. I already have all the richness I need. So we kind of want it to flow, we don't want it chalky. There we go. Let's see. All right. So cornbread is the center, obviously, of cornbread dressing, but in the Southern kitchen, of course, that's everything. This recipe I've been using for years and years and years and years, and it really has proven itself to me. It's very reliable. It comes out beautifully. It browns well, all that good stuff. 375-degree oven, like I said, for about 35 minutes. Start checking it. How do you know it's done? The toothpick test. Just put a toothpick or a cake tester in the middle of it. If it comes out clean, it's done. Now, if you overcook this, it's going to get chalky, dry. So don't do that. Into our prepared pan. Now, we have a little wiggle room in this particular cornbread because we're going to be breaking it up and putting it in cornbread dressing. So even if you do go over a little bit, it's okay. We'll fix it. We will fix it. That's it. All done. In the oven. Set the timer. Don't forget to set the timer. All right. Cornbread's in. We're going to take a little break. When you come back, we're going to get started on our green bean casserole. Then we're going to come back to our cornbread dressing once our cornbread's done. See you in a couple of minutes. Come on back, man. Welcome back to From the Bayou to the Well. I'm Kurt. Come on in. We are doing Thanksgiving sides all from scratch. It's going to be better than the turkey and the pork roast and the ham, I promise. So now we're working on a green bean casserole. Green bean casserole is really a very simple dish. It's onions and mushrooms and a bechamel sauce with green beans in it and some fried onions. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's very easy to do. Now, I found several recipes that you actually do the onions from homemade. You get them, you do those, but French's does a really good job. So we're going with that. Let's look over here. Warm your pot, you. Warm up your pot. So before I even started, I put my pot on my pan on a low heat, and I let it come up to temperature. Then I melted 3 tablespoons of butter in there. I put in 1 medium onion and 12 ounces of mushrooms that are sliced thick. And I'm letting those cook down. And they're just about right. This is what I'm looking for right here. Okay. So a lot of flavor right here. Tons and tons and tons of flavor. Put about a tablespoon and a half of Louisiana Love Original. So now we're going to start making our sauce. So this is flour, regular old all-purpose flour. And I'm going to just come in here. It's 1/3 of a cup. And I'm going to just sprinkle it right over the top of the mushrooms. I have plenty of fat in here. I'm going to come right back with a little rubber spatula. I'm going to start incorporating this. You don't have to get in a hurry. You really don't. It's not going to turn into gumbo roux anytime soon. You just want to make sure that all that flour gets hydrated, okay? Little bit. Work it in, just like that. Turn the fire down a little bit. We're going to go from high. I had it on a high fire. We're going to a medium fire, medium heat. Just work it in like that, and we're going to let it cook for about 2 or 3 minutes. Not a long time. I just want to get that raw flavor to start to come out because we're going to start introducing our chicken stock to this. And this is where our sauce is going to be for our green beans. Speaking of green beans, you can do this with fresh green beans, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, if you want to save a little bit of time, you could use frozen green beans. Frozen green beans are of excellent quality. They're very well prepared. And the beauty part about it is they're already cooked, see? So I don't have to worry about boiling them and shocking them and all the rest of it. Although fresh green beans taste very good, but I bet in this dish you can't tell the difference. They are certainly much better than canned green beans. About 2 teaspoons of garlic. And this is the recipe I've always used calls for sherry vinegar. This is a tablespoon of cane vinegar because we are in South Louisiana. Drop that in there. And I have 2 cups of chicken stock. So I'm going to add a little bit. And I'm going to stir it in. And it's going to start to thicken almost immediately. It's going to get pasty, pasty, pasty. I don't want to dump it all in because I run the risk of creating some lumps in there. A little bit more. Let it come up. And also I don't cool my pan off so much if I add a little bit of the time and don't dump the whole thing. Let that come up. See how this it's turning into a paste. It's not a sauce, it's a paste. By the way, this is called a velouté sauce. When you use a blanc roux to thicken, to make a sauce, and the liquid is chicken stock or veal stock or pork stock, that is a velouté sauce. Versus a bechamel would have cream, which is a good thing too. And you could certainly put some cream in here if you want it. That's called lacing or a liaison. But I don't think we need it. We have plenty of flavor packed in here. And you can see we're making a nice thick sauce. I'll turn our fire back up a little bit. I need it to catch up with me. Beautiful. Using a nice thick bottom pan really pays off right here because it retains that level of heat. I'm going to just add the rest of this. And we're going to let it come up. Take your time with this. You don't have to go crazy. Just let it incorporate. But you do want to stir it. You don't want to let the thick parts of the sauce stay there because they will end up bonding to each other, making a giant lump. You want them all liquefied, and then that way the starch crystals will thicken the rest of the sauce for you. So we're going to let that come up, and I want it to cook a few minutes before we do something else with it, because I want to make sure that the roux is incorporated and it has reached its full thickening power. And I also want to give this a taste before we go on. Now, this is going to be strong. When you taste this, it's going to be strong. And what I mean by strong is it should be strong in a bunch of flavors like onion and mushroom and chicken stock and all. It should be because I have a whole bunch of bland green beans to add to this. So I want to be sure that that I have a right amount of seasoning to accept these green beans. So when that's done, we're going to put this in a prepared 8-inch casserole. We're going to top it with our fried onions, and into the oven it goes, 350 degrees for about 35 to 40 minutes, maybe 45, uncovered. You don't need to cover this, okay? That's it. So, hey, when you come back, it's cornbread dressing time. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Come on back. Welcome back to From the Bayou to the World. We are in the middle of Thanksgiving paradise. We're doing sides tonight. If you're just joining us, we're doing green bean casserole from scratch, and we're doing cornbread dressing from scratch, where we're making the cornbread from scratch. No mixes here, and no canned soups in that green bean casserole. It's so good. Tasted it before put it together. Out of this world. So look how cornbread came out. Look how it's pretty. It cracked. What does that mean? It was probably just a hair dry when I put it in the oven, just a little, but that's okay. And if you saw the segment, you saw that I was adding a little water to balance it. I could have probably put a little bit more, but it's fine. This cornbread is going to go into our cornbread dressing, so it's all right. We'll adjust the liquid, I promise you. Cornbread dressing is really a combination of rice dressing mix, ground beef, cornbread, and of course our aromatics, our onions and garlic. So let's get to it. Warm up your pot to you. So we got our pot on a nice medium fire right here. I want to turn it up a little bit. I had it on low for about 3 or 4 minutes. And again, it takes the chill out the pot, and that's what you want. Because if I start adding a bunch of cold in here, then it's going to drop the temperature of the pot down. Now I have to let it catch up. It's just a hassle. So in 1 pound of ground beef. That's the sound you're waiting for. Now if you're doing something with ground beef like chili or cornbread dressing or whatever, as soon as the meat hits the bottom of the pan, start chopping it up. Or chopping it up. So you can tell by the color of this ground beef that it is not very fat. Normally, I like an 80-20. This is a little leaner than that. This is probably 85-15. I don't think it's quite 90-10. I like 80-20 because it generally has more flavor. This particular dish, I'm going to get a lot of flavor from my dressing mix. Now, when it comes to dressing mix, use whatever kind you want. There's about 2 or 3 commercial brands out there. Look, people are in all the camps. They in camp this, camp that. They use this one, that one, the other. I've been using the same one I've been using for all my life. That's the one I use. I have made my own. It's fine. It's just not worth it. My brother lives in Pennsylvania. He called me about 2-3 years ago. He said, "Hey man, you have a recipe for cornbread dressing?" I said, "Yeah, you're gonna need some dressing mix." So I can't get that. So we're gonna have to make some. So I told him how to make it, and he said it turned out great. But it's not the easiest thing in the world. It's a little bit. So look, just buy the little tub, and then you're gonna keep that to put your gumbo in. Don't throw that away, boy. My mom be mad at you. All right, so let's get our fire up to high. Brown our ground meat. You see, even though my pot was hot, that ground meat was so cold, it cooled it right on down, and my sizzle kind of went away, but it's gonna come right back. If I would have turned that fire on and dropped that in there, we'd have been here till next episode waiting for that to come up. So look, when we say brown ground meat, we just want to cook all the pink out of it and turn it this color brown. It is also okay if you brown it like you brown a steak. See right there? Right there? That? There's nothing wrong with that. That's a whole bunch of flavor. But for right now, I'm just trying to get all the pink out of it before we start adding our aromatics. And we're not going to brown our onions. We're just going to put them in there and sweat them along with our garlic. So we're going to add both of those at the same time. Once we have our ground meat and our dressing mix, our onions and our garlic all together, we're going to put the lid on it and it's going to create some liquid. It's going to be very wet in there. And that's exactly what we want, because after we season it, we're going to start adding this wonderful cornbread that we made, little bits at a time, stirring it in until it reaches the consistency we want. I like a very moist cornbread dressing. Some people like a little drier. You do it however you want. Every time you add some, you want to wait a little while. Okay. One more break, and then it's our favorite segment. It's time to eat. So you want to come back. Everything is going to be out. We got our incredible green bean casserole and our cornbread dressing. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Thanks for coming back from the Bayou to the world. I'm Kurt. We're doing Thanksgiving the right way, concentrating on them sides. Green bean casserole from scratch and cornbread dressing from scratch. Made the cornbread ourselves. Our last segment showed you that the cornbread had some cracks along the top. I said it might be a little dry. I was wrong. It was really delicious. So here, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I'm going to put some of this green bean casserole in another plate so it has a chance to cool off before I taste it, because it is absolutely lava. So good, though. It smells incredible. Cornbread dressing. Seeing some footage right now where we're adding the cornbread into the liquid. You want to make sure you use the back of your spoon and press it down and hydrate every part of it and mix all over the pot so that you don't have a dry spot and a wet spot and all the rest of this stuff. After you add some, wait about 10 or 15 seconds, let it hydrate, and then add a little bit more and wait in between each addition so that it doesn't get too dry on you. If it does, just add a little water. Remember to taste and adjust seasoning. And speaking of seasoning, we got to thank Gilbert's Greatest Foods, makers of Louisiana Love, for this episode and every episode of From the Bayou to the World. It's time for a little taste, and we'll get some of this cornbread dressing right here. It is truly one of my favorite things. Oh, God, I love it. No, I'm trying not to burn my palate. Look at this thing. Listen, this is the creamiest, most flavorful green bean casserole you will ever make. And it does not have any of those canned soup, anything like that. It's all made from scratch. So good. Do yourself a favor. Try these for this Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving from the Bayou to the World to you and your family. We will see you next time.